and a really cute hat. Look at this. My aunt made this for me. Well, not really technically for me, but she gave it to me. She made it for the World of Oddities. First time making something like this. Check it out. It's got bones. It's like really, really cool. And it's got a little veil. But I'm going to put that up here now. Perfect. I don't know if I want to wear a hat tonight. No, I may. We'll see. I'll leave it on for a little bit and then I'll put it back off. But the whole point of me even coming on here tonight, and I'm going to grab a lighter. There it is. All right, the whole point of me coming on here tonight is I want to show you something. I have been in a block lately, and then I started being able to do abstract again. And I painted something last night. And what came out was kind of bizarre, but it hit me like, my gosh, like electricity. And I'm just lighting some candles here so I can get some better lighting in here. I do typically work in the dark. And, whoa, I'm on fire. Oh, lovely. You didn't see that, did you? All right, I was on fire for a second. But I am going to smudge. This is something I do every time I come on. Well, not on here, but I'm saying every time I paint. It's important that I do this for myself. It's a way of cleansing everything around me and bringing me into a space. Sometimes as an artist, the most important thing you can do is create your own ritual. That ritual is something that will make it so that you can actually connect with art and painting. Now, for tonight, I am doing something really kind of unique. This painting came out of me last night, and when I looked at it, I realized that it was something, and it was something disturbing. A friend of mine, said something like, what was it he said? Kind of like Hannibal Lecter looking. Yeah, I guess it is kind of like that in a sense. But honestly, there was a dream that I had one time, and it was just after a friend of mine died. Well, more than a friend. He was kind of like a father figure. And in that father figure, he was also a friend. I worked for him and things like that. And he ended up passing away early. He had an aneurysm. And that aneurysm actually made it so that I started looking into some of those things more. But it was a very sudden loss. It was my best friends, Sean and Shelley. It was their dad, Daryl. That night, I had one of those waking dreams. One of those dreams where you're not sure if you're awake or you're asleep. And in that dream, he came to me, and his eyes were like olives. These are the shapes of olives and the color of olives if you look really close to them. But more importantly, over top of the olives was lacing, like they do when you are being prepared for, for burial, more or less. And so I started to see that, but then I also started to see something else, another nightmare along the same lines. When my uncle died, I was really traumatized by it. He died of an overdose, and so it was one of those caskets where, they're literally like just kind of pieced back together type thing. I don't know, it's hard to explain. I'm not going to go into that. But the point is, his eyes were also laced, but his mouth was also laced. Because to get it in and out of a certain position that it's in right now, that's kind of the point. The way he came to me, I was praying. I'm like really praying. I was crying. I was grieving. He was like one of my favorite uncles, even though he was an uncle by marriage. he really believed in me. And that was something that I really wasn't used to having sometimes. So much that just before he died, we were talking about doing a subdivision. We were going to do a log cabin subdivision. The man made close to $750,000 a month, sick money. And so that was not something absurd for him to become a part of for investing. And real estate really is a great way of investing. When I was an architect, I did do log cabins. And so he saw one of my cabins and he remarked how much he liked it, enjoyed it. Long story short, when I was praying that night and crying, I went into this, it was dark, it was in my room, it was just like this space of grief. We do things when we're grieving that we don't always do. And during that time of prayer and praying and crying and talking to him, I started hearing footsteps in my hallway. And these were not quiet footsteps. These were very loud footsteps. It was like, I mean, like really loud. Great, now my dog's over here. Hollis. I'm okay, honey. So all of a sudden, I see this image in front of me. I kid you not. I don't know if it was like a part of like a half dream or half what. But in this image, it was him. And his eyes were laced. And his mouth was laced. But his eyes were wide open. And he was angry. Very angry. You could tell that he was angry. And he had, died in a very bad way. About a very traumatic way. All of a sudden, I just started kind of rocking. I was like, no, don't want to see you, don't want to see you, don't want to see you, don't want to see you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I wish I could want to see you, but I don't want to see you, not like this. And so that was really traumatic. It was something that, when you lose somebody that way, especially someone that believes in you, when you live in a world where not many people in your life did, it becomes really significant. And so this painting is a reminder of that event, the horror that came down through my hallway, the nightmares in my dreams. The two people, for some reason, merged into one in this painting. I can't explain why, but I can see it. And so one of the things that I'm also doing tonight is I only have a couple things from them. My uncle had actually bought my husband and I's wedding ring, and I don't wear it because it turned black and it broke. We're still married, but we don't have wedding rings. Anyway, it's the only connection I have to him. And alongside that, for Daryl, I have a pizza pan. I used to work in his pizza shop, and he gave me one of his pizza pans one time. And, it was one of the coolest things that he did. It was a really good pan. But that's all I have, alongside a planter that I have in my garden. That's it. He did have this beautiful water top, one of those dressers, and I gave that to one of my kids. And so it's still in the family. But my point is I'm going to put these over here together with these two candles, and these two candles represent them. And while I'm doing this, I want to explain that I've never done this live before, first of all, okay? I've done live, but I've never done this. What I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to rewrite this painting with you guys. I am going to turn it into something else. Something that's not so terrifying. Something that doesn't make me sad, scared, any of those types of things. Because when I'm doing my art, ultimately, I'm not trying to make things that are freaky or scary. That just happens to be the stuff that comes out. So I'm looking to see here. It looks like okay, that's better. Okay. I've actually got my computer up so that I can be able to see if there's any comments this time. And I think that that will help a little bit for this as well. But so I've got my paints laid out here. I did a different assembly of paints. My abstracts, my glow, my paints, even my sculpt, my glitters. I've got everything over here. So whatever mood should come to me, it will be the mood that I can put into this painting with these colors. And I've also got some paintbrushes. So I'm going to go grab a thing of water real quick. I'll be right back. As you can look at that painting right now because it's getting ready to change. Okay, so here's my water. Got that for my paintbrushes. I'm going to lay out my paintbrushes here. Now with this also, I'm going to light some incense because as part of my ritual, I do this. And again, I had talked about the importance of having a ritual as an artist. It can sometimes be a difference of you painting or not painting. And so I'm lighting some incense, some very simple incense, and I have a special incense burner that is going on so it's safe. And it's on a tray as well. So I've got that going over there. So just get started. One of the big things with these paintings is the colors. When the colors come out like this, it typically has different symbology. It's not always what you think it is, but I do know that for me, I've only painted with pink once, and it was a painting that I did about my son. It's called The Beauty of Chaos, and we almost lost him. And also my daughter I had to rescue her from an abusive relationship. And when I say rescue, I mean like go straight there and get her, pack her up and leave, that kind of stuff. And that painting came out during it. And that is where the pinks are. So the pinks, to me, in particular, represent that chaos. And so I do want to remedy that. And that's one of the reasons why I don't really paint with pinks very often, because of what it means to me. And so I do have my black light on because I do paint with my black light. It's just kind of a way that I can connect with things. And so I want to make sure that you know what I'm doing here. So I am going to literally get what comes to me. I have colors that are all around me. They may not even make sense. But what I'm doing is I'm taking this picture of these two people that died and that came to me in this abstract painting. And that part of me, that grief, is on the canvas now. That's kind of a good thing because now I can paint over it. I can rewrite it. It doesn't have to stay that way, but it's trapped. And this is not the first time I've done this. So this isn't something new for me, but it doesn't happen very often. So I've got my colors, and the first thing I want to do is I want to change these eyes. I'm going to change these eyes into windows and just literally put the lines across them. I'm going to tone down some of the colors that are screaming, because they are screaming. This represents somebody with their mouth open, but still lays shut. That's kind of creepy, you know? And so I am removing that part of it and making it into something else. So now I'm going to try to keep talking. I've never done this live, never painted live, especially on this level. But in the past when I did, one of the things that helps me is if I take some of the pain into my thoughts as words. I'm not sure what kind of words this is going to be, but I'm going to paint some words on this painting so that I can get some expression out of me based on this fear. And I'm also going to be thinking about these fears and these nightmares as a way that I can rewrite them. I need to do that, but I'm going to make them into something else. Only things that come to me right now is miss you. Daryl. Bob. I don't usually write the names, but for some reason I feel that I need to. So I have both of the names there. Bob was like a friend and an uncle, and Daryl was like a father figure. He gave me my first job, at least like, on my own where I wasn't working with my dad. I started working when I was 14, to tell you the truth, which was pretty young now that I look back and think about like my kids at those ages, and it's kind of surprising. So anyway, now I'm going to try to bring in some more terminology into this. And what that is there is no more fear. And so I'm going to get the fear and I'm going to write the fear into this so that I can paint over top of the fear. The sorrow. And paint over top of the sorrow. Betrayal. Their hate. Because they did have it. They both did. They both were very hateful people at times. Daryl not as much as Bob was. And so there now I brought some of the words and some of the terminology in. And with that, I can now rewrite that and paint over top of that and let that part of me go. But I need to start pouring some emotion into this. So I'm going to be quiet for a moment as I'm doing this. But you can be here with me. Even the dog's going to be here with me. I feel the need to smudge it. And usually I'll have music on. Next time I will bring some music on, unless I can somehow manage to work that in somehow. Now I've really done it. One stroke. reason that I'm doing it this way instead of putting it into a container and mixing it is because it's allowing me to add some movement into this myself. It's a painting method that I had learned. Of course, Wallace is going to be over here getting into my paints now. So let me see what else I have here. I brought this along with me. I don't know why this isn't on. For some reason, I don't know. All right. So now, my husband just went out the front door to get a better view of the fireflies. It is so hot, I can't paint outside on the patio today. It's as hot as hell, to be truthful. Well, not quite as hot, but you know, it's darn close. Go out there and it's terrible. See how I'm using my fingers and putting that into it and working it in? It's kind of a way that, you know, it's almost like you're preparing the medium, preparing what's coming out. And when I say rewrite it, that can come in many forms. But ultimately, what it means is turning it into something more beautiful than it is. So now I've got all of these into there, and it's all over my cutting board. It's kind of like you're painting with light, and I'm surrounding that image with light. And by doing that, it's changing it. I'm adding in some more colors that are considered soothing to me. This is a green. It's a nice calm green. And mixing it with the yellow will give it some more depth as well. Ultimately, what matters is that it completely changes conceptually. And I can honestly feel it lifting, feel some of the pain lifting from those traumas. I can feel it coming. I can transfer. And that's what it's about sometimes, transferring that pain into something more beautiful. And so I'm going to step back now and take a look at it. And I immediately know that I need to do this. Sometimes rotating it changes it immensely. Yet it's still a face. That face is still there. I need those faces to go away. Those faces are what haunt me. Well, it's starting to have like a Kermit the Frog look to it. That's kind of cool. I love Kermit the Frog. When I'm doing abstract, I'm not necessarily trying to make something in particular. I'm trying to bring my passion, my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, whatever I'm feeling, into a place that doesn't hurt so much, and into a place that I can be a part of society, because I don't want to be constantly, I don't want to bring these kind of things to it. I want to bring happiness and joy and help people to be able to acquire that as well. I think that that is something that, as an artist, it's important that you at least know what feeling you're wanting to portray. And so right now I'm seeing this, and I'm going to add some more to it. Let's see. This is good. I've got some white. point. And again, by using my fingers, it's allowing me to connect with it more. You know, with painting, it's not about using these special techniques that you've been shown necessarily. It's about using what connects you to your art the best way possible. And that can be different for different people. At least I can imagine that it is. I know a lot of different artists, but we don't really talk about that kind of stuff as much as we should. I think it would be kind of cool if we did. So now it's completely different. It no longer looks like, it doesn't look like them anymore. And so now I can like really realize, there we go. Bring some sparkle into it. A little bit of an explosion. I use these different glitters. They are, I forget the brand, and there it is, Artist Mars, and they're really great. They have different glow glitters and different things like that. And so when you put it into the art on a wet painting, they will dry into it. And sure, it's a little poppy. I mean, I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't, to me, I don't care what anyone thinks, to tell you the truth. I'm not sure how to even express that. So I'm going to keep moving here, and Wallace is now trying to join us too. He is like a shadow that is always there anywhere I go. It's kind of cute. Water. It's all feeling based right now. The important part is that I connect with the canvas in the right way. When you're releasing pain, it's okay to be brutal. It's okay to be brutal because the pain that you had was brutal. See, now all those pain, all those words, all of that terror that I had completely forgotten about until I made this painting has now been rewritten. It is gone. And I'm kind of getting this like Cookie Monster feel to it now. But it's definitely getting like an outer space feel, which I absolutely love. And just so that it doesn't look weird, I'm going to turn this around. Oh, I can't believe I got all that paint on my cutting board. I use this cutting board for my model stuff. There we go. It'll come off. It will come off. It's just one of those little LKs. But so now it's getting like a space feel. And you know, if you think about it, you know, we are energy. Our feelings are energy. We put that out into the world, but it's not just the world, it's the universe. And so sometimes it's kind of cool when you're doing something like this and you can create like parts of the universe this way. And so it is starting to get that feel. And so I think I'm going to just start going with that. But before I do, I'm going to grab a cloth because I don't want to get paint all over the floor. Be right back. Hang on, just a comment. be quite honest, there's actually some glitter and a little bit of the paint on the floor already. And as soon as my husband realizes that, that's going to be interesting. So now I'm going to take these other pieces and grab some of my water here. And I'm going to start integrating them into this piece even more. What one do you think we should use, Wallace? One. That one? Oh, okay. We can use that one. We're going to use that. We're going to do something interesting here. Change the texture. It's a rolling pin I have. And it's hard to see from where you guys are at. But within this, everything is changing. And the rolling pin has like different lines on it to represent like rocks or stones, things like that. Okay, Wallace, now what do you think we should do? He thinks I need to put some of this in there. So he pointed at this paint right here. And it has become like my painting buddy in a sense, which means that he may occasionally have paint on him, you know, just in case, you know, he does. There we go. Oh, I see why. So we're putting some lovely, lovely, it's a type of pink though, but it's more of a reddish pink and it's more of a fiery. And to me, it feels happier. So much happier. And I always put the lids back on when I can, otherwise I will have like one heck of a mess, which happens frequently for me. By the way, with this type of abstract, I'm not necessarily putting together complementary colors. I'm using colors as a form of expression instead. And so sometimes the colors that express our emotion are not necessarily going to be, you know, right within the cycle. In fact, a lot of the paintings that I do end up being more like tertiary colors, you know, the really off combinations. But that is something because it's all feeling based. And this is already starting to have a happier feel to it. And I'm starting to recognize some things in there that I really like. This is reminding me of some of the bushes, some of the flowering bushes that were over in Scotland. I haven't seen very many over here, at least nothing like that. It was really beautiful. I do miss Scotland. And that does come out in my paintings quite a bit. It's so much that I think my husband and I, we may move there. We may retire there. We're not sure yet, but we're thinking about it. There's a lot of advantages to it, especially because there's something about being, I don't know, limited, that it makes you appreciate the choices you have. Like when you go over there and you go into those stores, they are typically stocked with like one or two things of each type of thing. You don't have selection. And then the prices are usually decent. They're okay, you know, but it's like little dime stores over there. But in front of them, often they have these big flowering bushes. Bring some more of this glitter in because I think the glitter is really helping to change the mood of it. Got it in my hand. I'm just throwing it into it. Just a wonderful way to release. It's there. It's all off of me. I'm not trying to do magic or anything. Yes, I'm going to grab my wand and whoosh, da, 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 da. No, I'm not going to. It's just different ways of being able to get your art expression into there. So now I'm going to grab some more colors to make some more changes and see what starts to unravel from this painting, because I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be now. Eventually I will know. It'll show itself. And that's like one of the coolest parts of doing art is when it reveals something about you that you can't see unless you paint it. Ultimately, that's the job of an artist. We show you what you can't see. We show you what's not necessarily visible in the world the same way as, an apple or a pear is. And we can help others to be able to recognize their own emotions. When I first started painting again in 2022, I literally was like on it like this the whole time for close to 8 hours straight with music. That was my first time that I released. And so I recognize that when I'm doing the tapping type painting, it's kind of a way of releasing things. That's my dishwasher, or my dryer. It's making me nuts. See, it's already starting to turn into something much more beautiful than it was before. It's no longer, what was a scary pig. For the 4th of July, I think it's kind of cool because it's like little explosions of colors that kind of like when you see fireworks, the freedom, and you think about it, those colors are like freedom. That's what fireworks are. They are just explosions of freedom. And there's something really wonderful about that I really like. I don't know why, but I do. I get like a kid when it comes to that stuff. And that thing's gonna keep beeping like that unless I turn it off. Might be annoying, so let me go get it. I'm gonna turn it off real quick. There we go, much better. The way I see beauty may not be the same way someone else sees beauty. I see beauty in different explosions of colors, different objects, different ways things are put together. Something that to one person may not be beautiful, but to this person is. So, but at least it's no longer the scary pig with his eyes so shut. And I'm not sure why they were pigs. I don't know. But that was what came out. Might be because I feel so bad for pigs. Like when you see them at the fair and stuff, they're so cute, they're so sweet. And you know that they're gonna be, eaten more or less. And it's kind of sad. So, there's a certain trauma in that indeed. What do you have, Wallace? Okay, he's got his stuff, his plush animal. He's down here right below me. And he's got his noisiest toy, and I'm hoping that crinkling isn't going to be making a problem for you guys. But I am going to keep adding more color, and I think I'm going to really explore this pink for a second, because this pink is, again, something that I recognize I use for art that is more pain-based for me. And I want to change that a little bit. So I'm going to add just a couple little splashes of it in here. Just keep adding it until it feels right. It's starting to get kind of a little bit of a floral garden feel going on too that I like. So now another thing I'm gonna do, because it's honestly, it's about getting the emotion out. It's not necessarily about visualizing and painting something in particular. I am trying to clear away the negative emotions that were connected to the other piece. And so now I am going to rotate it again. And the reason I do that is because I can see it differently at each angle. And I just keep going. There's no intent other than trying to just get those emotions out. That's the only intent I have at this moment. I really need to get a plastic container to use for my paint. Maybe I'll go get one in a second here. But for right now, I'm going to use the cap. And I don't know, I'm hoping, can you guys see everything okay from where you're at? I am thinking, you know, I don't want to bring you too close because I want you to be able to see, you're going to see this art before I do. You're seeing it evolve in a way that I'm not even seeing it. That's him with this crinkly toy. He's only got one toy that he really likes, and that's the one, and it's annoying as heck. And my daughter Helena brought it over. She got rid of it. It was her dog's, so I kind of wonder about that. But he's really happy about it. So I guess that's all that matters. Another reason I'm inside, I can hear it in the distance. You guys probably can't hear it, but we live out in the country and everybody has fireworks. He's gonna start barking when they start really kicking up. Oh no, he's getting pink paint on him. Oh well. He needs a little color. We'll just rub it in. There we go. That's pretty. You look pretty now. He's got glitter on. But I don't know if you can hear those giant booms. And so that's another reason why I'm inside. Also because it feels like it's 110 out there with the humidity. I'm in Ohio and the central part of Columbus. And it is so humid that when you're out there, I mean, you literally will start dripping sweat. And that is like, you know, that's real heat. It's real heat. One of the things that happened also last night while I was doing this, it's got a lot of ridges of deep paint in it because when I was painting it, that was something that just started coming out. And so this has definitely got some depth to it. And it's also got wax already on it and as a part of this because it went on it automatically. And when that happens with the painting, with whatever you're working on, you leave it. And so this is what I do to get those feelings out. I've done this with several other types of things, other types of expression, different times that I needed to get something hateful out of me. Or when a painting turns into something that I see as detrimental. to me, then I will want to rewrite that completely, because I don't even want to have it around me. I don't want it to exist. And so I have to rewrite it. The fireworks are really starting to boom, but I think he's happy because he's right next to me. Last night he was barking every 2 seconds when those fireworks were going off. And I did a different brush. Now, as I'm looking at this, I'm getting different impulses and material. And this may end up looking like a hot mess, but you know what? It was a hot mess before. Art is about expression. And I think the gesture itself, you know, and that's called gesterial, like painting, is something very powerful. It's something that's like inside you. You get these emotions out by pushing them out. And the more you practice painting, the easier this will happen for you. Or the more you start doing your art in a way that is connecting, you'll be able to do it even more in a more advanced way. I even have paintings where I was working on trying to paint away other types of emotions and feelings. In fact, I can show you one. I'll bring it over because it's got mostly words in it. And it was the first one that I ever did like this. And so now I'm gonna have to let it dry a little bit, but I can keep going in the areas that are already dry. My dad had a thing for nail polish. When my dad died, I ended up with boxes and boxes and boxes of nail polish. So when I get really cool ones like these that glow, yeah, I use them in my art sometimes. And when you're sealing it, it all flows together. Sometimes I feel that whenever he was painting his nails, he was painting away an emotion, something he felt. Because then when he was done, he was really happy. And you know, that's something you don't forget. So I'm gonna keep going here. I've got some more types of things that can go into it that I think need to go into it that I'm feeling. Gesture-based painting is something I really enjoy doing when I'm working in this way. And so now when this dries, it's gonna start looking even more into something else. But I think I'm happy with where it's at. And I think that's kind of the point, is that now I have something that I want to work on more in depthly, and I have something that I feel is no longer painful to look at. It no longer reminds me of dead uncles, you know, that came to me in my dreams or came to me during a different time in my life. That just happened. And so now I am going to start putting these things away, but I do keep everything together. That way I still have some level or some similar. My husband just walked in. Remember, I have ADD. I get distracted really easily. How you doing, honey? Thumbs up? Okay, good. I invited him to come on, but I don't think he wants to right now. But maybe sometime he'll come on here and play for you guys. He's a really, really good guitar player. And I really enjoy painting when he's playing. Why, I don't know. It's the music, the artistry flows through me. Good night, honey. Enjoy your evening. Go to bed. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Good luck at your wedding tomorrow. Oh, that sounded weird. Yeah, no, he's playing at a wedding. Good night. As this dries more, I can work on it even some more tonight. But I think one of the things that I really want to focus on with when I'm finishing this is music. I know that I need some music next to it. And so I'm going to get my music going so that I can paint with that, because that helps me to connect with emotions even better than anything else. You know, there's this one artist, her name's Sophia, I want to say Izella, something like that. But I really like her music because some of the stuff that it's her words, they're like poetry. But she's saying stuff in a way that is really eye-opening. It's very blunt, very brute. So it's emotion-based. I mean, it literally is. And she is talking about emotions that we don't talk about very often. And so I think she's going to really make a splash in some way. I think she's mostly over in Europe right now. But if you listen to her music, it's good to paint too. And then I will just tell, my player to pick something for me. And they're pretty good at figuring that out, because I yell out requests to Alexa all the time, and she's gotten to know me a little bit, especially when I'm in a certain mood. If I tell her, hey, I'm in a sad mood, play some music, then she's gonna play some like polka music and try to get me going. Something like that. Oh, and I learned something else last night I have to pass along, just because it's kind of a cool thing. I don't know if you have like tarot cards, but when you are working with them and you're laying them out, one of the things that happened last night is, as I was saying them out loud, Alexa told me what they meant. And then afterwards, she told me what all of it meant and how it pertained to how my life is going at the moment. It was the coolest thing. And so do I hate AI? No, I don't think I do. Even though as a graphic designer, I'm now painting because, AI took my job in that way. And I'm okay with that. I don't really have if anything, now I get to paint, which is really cool. Get my lover boy. He is like literally right there. Fortunately, you can't see him. He's a very big dog with pinks and greens and glitters throughout his hair. And so that's all I've got for tonight. I wanted to come on here for an hour, and I wanted to show you guys this process and invite you to talk to me about it. Is there anything that you do as an artist to get rid of the negative emotions when they show their ugly face in your art? Or how do you deal with pain and things around those lines where when it comes out, how do you deal with it? And so this is an option. People do what's called art therapy, and I think that there's a lot to that. So you really have to, I don't know, the best thing I can say is you really have to want to. I don't know if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't. Who knows? Ever since my husband came in, my mind's been like, because it completely took me out of my zone. When I'm painting, when I'm doing my art, I'm usually in my studio, which is right on the other side of this wall, and looks just like this room, but it has less light. And there'd be no way you'd be able to see me. And last night, I know that even TikTok had to kind of, pull back part of my live because the lighting was too dark. What I was trying to do was show an artwork piece as it changed, and as the light went out, and it had the black light on it through twilight, so that it would all light up. And that's something that's really fun to do. But that's all I've got for today. I really appreciate you guys coming on. I will be back on in a couple days, usually on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And please follow me and give me a like so that I know if I'm on the right path to something that's helpful to you. and share, please. I am not afraid of my stuff getting out there. I am not afraid of what people are going to think, because art isn't definable. It really isn't. It's not something that you can judge somebody on, because art is their perception and you have no right to judge that as a viewer. And I've learned that over time. And I think that was a pretty good thing to learn. So I hope you all have a really great night. And thank you so much for coming on. I do appreciate it greatly. Have a good night.